I'm just so happy. I was really excited when we knew that Lana Del Rey was going to come by, and she is here first thing this morning. Good to see you, Lana. How are you?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you.
Your heart is big, and your soul is wonderful, and you're very talented. But I say your heart is big because you do so much for our foundation around the country. And I hear so many stories from my sister who runs that about what you do with the kids in Children's Hospital. And I have not had a chance to properly say thank you.
Oh, you're so
today I
welcome.
want to say, thank you on behalf of all of those kids that you touch and get to perform with and talk with. It means so much, and I'm really, really grateful. So thank you.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Yeah, we were so lucky to be able to go to a few of the hospitals, and it just, obviously means as much to me and all my friends who got to come down and, hang out with me there too, because I don't know, just to be able to stop by in between tour. That's the good stuff,
Yeah.
showing up for that. And my heart is big. I think about those kids all the time.
Yeah.
I think about kids all the time. So, yeah, how cool to be able to do that.
Well, you should know that when they find out, and you've done a few of them, when they find out you're coming, it's something to look forward to, number one, right? So there's something to look forward to the night before, the day before, 2 days before. Then there's something to look forward to that morning when they get up. Then there's something to go do, and then there's something to talk about. So it's not just the time you're there.
Yeah.
It's all the lead up and the aftermath. So
that's such a good way of putting it. Yeah. The little thinking about it and the planning. And the way I feel about it too is it kind of doesn't matter who's coming in. It's just knowing that a little friend is coming in who could sing or read with you. And that was really
When
cool.
did you know you had this talent that you have? At what age?
I was singing before I was talking. I was singing in complete full songs, by 2, I would say.
Wow.
Complete. So you didn't obviously didn't know the lyrics. Or what they meant,
Right. This is what I was told.
You could say words in song.
Yeah, full songs, completely born singing. I didn't think I was gonna. I didn't 100% think I was gonna sing for real, for a job, for life,
Right,
forever.
right.
But I was singing to the point of annoyance, and definitely in all the plays. I was little orphan in Annie when I was 3. I actually got kicked out of Annie because I was
Why'd you get
waving.
kicked out?
I was a happy orphan, waving to grandma, everyone. But I did do a year of rehearsals anyways. So
That's
definitely.
When do you feel like you had your big break?
Well, so I've been posting little homemade videos online, and then I had been writing some faster songs, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm going to write a ballad that's a little more true to myself. And that was video games. And me and my sister made a video for it at home. And then The Weeknd, actually, Abel, posted it on his Tumblr 11 days in a row. I was like, oh my God. And then Fern Cotton from Radio 1 in London saw it on his Tumblr, and she gave me one play every day for a week. And then it was so funny because I've been singing in New York and meeting labels for about 7 years.
Before this?
Wow.
Before all of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
The labels I'm signed to now, I had met with 4 times over about 8 years. But after Fern played that song every day, they all called me and they were like, never mind.
I was
We
just
changed
kidding
our
about
mind.
not signing you, just teasing.
Actually, singer-songwriting is awesome. And,
Wait a minute, I
was...
wouldn't trust those people that did that then. Hold on for a second.
Listen, I thought about it for a second. But, it was just I was so relieved. I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
I love that
Finally,
Fern
I
did
can
that.
make
That's
the record I want.
That's such a great thing. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Lana about her album, Norman Bleepin' Rockwell. And we have got a chance for you to see at the Hollywood Bowl. Imagine Lana Del Rey, Under the Stars, Hollywood Bowl, October. I can't.
Yeah.
I've been seen.
I know.
I can't. Meaning I can't is a good thing, right? I'm learning all this from Tanya, who says I am unseen, which is a good thing. Is that? Or
It's
seen
no,
is a
it's
good thing?
I'm seen is a
What
good
is
thing.
spam? You said spam the other day.
Spam means I'm lighting up your feed.
You know it's spam.
Yeah.
No, spam is bad.
Like spam.
Like
When I get-
he thinks spam mail, but she used it more in a different term.
But thank you for giving me credit, Lana, for knowing that. We're coming back in just a second here. It's 102.7 Kiss FM. Lana Del Rey, I'd like to ask you a question, but I can't because you're about to start singing.
That's right.
Doing time. Here she is, Kiss FM.
We'll agree that we're qualified to represent the LBC. Me and Louie, we gonna run to the party and dance to the rhythm. It gets hotter. That was awesome. Damn, I would have tried to really sing the whole thing.
Oh, we got the version recorded, the version live in the studio. That's Lana Del Rey, by the way, 102.7 Kiss FM. That is such a cool song, but version and arrangement and everything of that song.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that
love it.
remix. I mean,
Oh my
That's
gosh.
insane.
That
huge
was
Sublime
super
fan.
unexpected for me to do.
Why?
But,
So tell me why. How did we get to that?
So Interscope, the label I'm signed to, they're producing a movie that is about the life story of Sublime.
Yeah.
So John, who runs the label, said that Bradley's former wife had been talking about me doing time, and also, funny enough, David Kahn, who produced that album, is the first producer I worked with 14 years ago.
Wow.
And he made my
That's
first record.
Crazy.
So I hadn't heard from him in about 10 years, and he gave me sent me a long email, and I didn't know that he had also been talking to people and was like, she should do it. She loves Sublime. And so,
That's
there were a couple
amazing.
little things that came
So-
together.
Knowing all of that history, what was your feeling when you went to sing it and record it? What was that like?
I was like, I shouldn't do it. Like,
you didn't wanna screw it
It's
up.
just so good,
Yeah.
like it's a song I listen to. But because also I was going to go down and work with someone I had never worked with before. Actually, the guy who produced the song you just played, Senorita, Andrew Watt.
So good.
He's really, really good, and I've seen him around. Like he's kind of around at parties and stuff, but we had never worked together. So, I just went down, and he was so quick. Like he got a couple of Long Beach players up and put the whole track together really fast, and it was one of those things where I listened to it the next day, and I was like, that's actually pretty good, even though it was unexpected.
When we're at the Hollywood Bowl, I mean, can you feel? I can feel it. I need a. Actually, could you pass me your pashmina, Tanya? I'm a little cool.
Yeah,
here you
Because
go.
it's October 10th and Lana Del Rey's up there just singing song to song.
Perfect.
And when you do a show like that, are you creating a narrative with the songs and the set list?
Yeah. For a show like that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so big. It's just like, I'm definitely going to have like friends come down, and special guests, because if I were there, I'd want it to really read like a show with friends. And I'm at the point too where, I can think of a bunch of people who would just like give people goosebumps up on stage.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check my calendar to see where we're going to be.
Oh
October
yeah,
10th
I
and
hope.
wherever
If
else
not
you're gonna
there,
be.
the Greek is also a cool little venue.
Yeah, that's a nice little venue.
Your music is really good makeout music too, by the way.
High five.
And Tanya's been using a lot of your music recently. Let's just say, I could talk to you for days. I know that you've got stuff to do, and people are just sitting here going, "Let her keep singing and singing." And if you want to see her sing and sing and sing, the Hollywood Bowls were to do it the Greek as well, and you can get all that ticket information at Ticketmaster.com. Caller 102. Let me get you in to see her in person. Do her magic. 1-800-520-1027. Really grateful for everything that you contribute musically, and also just for the wonderful heart that you have. So thank you for coming
so
in.
much. Same to you.
The New York Times says in the last decade, Lana Del Rey has exploded into one of the most consistent album artists and world builders of this decade, aesthetically presaging pop music's and the world's turn toward opiates and the apocalypse.
I didn't understand half of that.
I don't know what any of that means, but I do know that Lana Del Rey is dope, and we are delighted to welcome her back to the Kevin and Bean Show here
I
on
mean,
the World
you
Famous
could not have sounded more like a narc saying dope.
She's dope. Lana's dope. Hey, Lana.
She may be dope, but you shouldn't say it.
Hello, fellow kids.
I think that's the point.
Hello,
Fair enough, I
children.
guess.
Did you guys smoke the weed?
I'm so dead already. I'm over already.
That's it. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is great to see you. You seem to be in a very good place right now on the eve of the new album coming out tomorrow. You're feeling good. I know all the albums are your babies, but this one is the youngest, so it's the cutest and the one you love the most,
It's
right?
so true. I do love all my youngest children the most as they are first put out into the world.
Yeah.
You were finished with this album last year?
No.
Did I read that right? No.
No, well, I definitely started last year, like last Jan, a year and a half ago.
A year ago, January, okay.
And then I was pretty much done, I'd say, in June, but definitely putting some final touches on it.
Is
up
that
until
difficult to stop putting final touches on
It is for me.
I would think so.
Yeah.
You would always be thinking, I could make that better if I just did that one thing.
Well, and along the lines of being kind of an album artist, for me, I do make the vinyl. Like, for instance, like the Abel from The Weeknd, like he can finish that night and just put it out the next day. But
That's
I
true.
really make physical copies, so I have to be done 90 days before the release date, which it kills me because I always think of something great.
Yeah,
like,
you have 90 days
I
to
got
question
90
everything.
days to think about everything.
Yeah. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you work with your producer, Jack Antonoff?
Yeah, it is.
Did you knew him before? Obviously, everybody in music seems to know Jack.
Yeah, I really didn't know him that well. I had met him 8 years ago. I think I was coming out of an elevator. He was going into the elevator at Emil Haney's studio, who helped produce my first album.
You have a lot of good memories. I have 8 years ago, I couldn't tell you in a million years
Well,
what happened.
I didn't remember either until I met Jack again a year and a half ago, and he's like, "Remember me and the guys from Fun?"
Okay.
We all had our glasses on, and we were like, "Hi, Lana."
Did you pretend to know, or did you really remember?
As soon as he said that, I vividly remember like three, like sweet guys with the glasses being like, "Hi, we love video games."
Because anytime I've ever said that to anyone, I know they're lying.
No, I
Okay.
did.
You did
yeah.
remember.
Very
and
sweet.
he's but I had never worked with him, and I wasn't writing when I met him, and he was like, "If you have a day off tomorrow in New York, you should just come down and let's see what we cook up."
And he kind of primed the pump a little bit.
Yes. Oh, definitely. He was like, "I know I have good stuff for you," which no one ever says because I usually bring my stuff to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We've had him on the show a couple times, and
You
we
have?
are so and we love him.
Love him.
We're so impressed with him. Just not
I'm
obviously
impressed with him.
as an artist, as a songwriter, as a musician, and as a producer, but just as a person, he just seems genuinely like so cool and
I
nice
agree.
and
with
positive.
But even with all those things being like, Lana Del Rey doesn't come immediately to mind
No.
when you think
No,
of Jack.
agreed.
So what was it that he came to the table with that sort of got you over that sort of pop hump, I guess, that he's best known for or getting Grammys for?
Well, I told him the same thing. I was like, I just, because I very much do my own thing, and I'm pretty casual in the studio. Like if it works, it works. But I guess the thing that was interesting was we went down to his studio, and he played like a little progression of 6 chords, and without being cheesy, I asked him, am I allowed to have those chords? They were so beautiful.
So he was already in tune with you when he started playing.
If he wasn't in tune with me, he was just so talented chordally that it's like I just knew that if he was going to let me have those chords, then I had literally just gotten so lucky.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes people just click, creatively, personally, whatever it is, and you know it when you're in the right place, at the right time, with the right person, for sure. The album that we were speaking with Lana Del Rey about is called Norman Effing Rockwell. First album ever named after a guy born in the 1890s, do you think?
That's a great question.
Great question. We've all been
It
thinking
can't
it, Bean. We've all been thinking it, and he
can't
asked
be,
it.
Lana says.
I've been working on it for months, and you just tweeted it out, Bean. Unbelievable.
It can't be.
The reason I asked Lana is because, look, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think most people see that title and they go, okay, this is some sort of a comment on idealized America versus real life America. But don't you think that many, maybe even most or almost all of the people who buy your records have no idea who Norman Rockwell is?
50-50.
You think?
I feel like it's one of those names that's kind of like, gosh, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's not like Elvis Presley, but it's
No, I would
it's
think-
out there.
It's up there. Yeah, it
I would
means
think
more
you-
than the name.
I would think even
Yeah.
people that don't know who that is, they recognize the name at the very least.
Or at least the
there
aesthetic.
is something familiar about
Yes.
the name.
Yes.
Nostalgia in a couple words, I suppose. And then I like the effing in the middle just to
Just to go the other way, just for a
just to
second.
let you know, like there's a little bit of lightness somewhere in the album, and
Well, I noticed you were smiling on the cover. I felt that was different.
or I'd say like smizing.
Yeah, you've smirked.
Smizing.
You've
Yeah.
smirked. I don't know about
Somebody's
was a
been watching
word.
America's Next Top Model.
but you've straight up smiled in this one. I mean, and I read it's a bit about like the humor that you brought to the record, but like, is that a conscious decision to do that kind of stuff?
I found that I was smiling as I was singing, which I do sometimes. Like in my last album when I was singing Love, one of the first songs I put out, like I remember, smiling. Look at these kids with their vintage music. So for the title track of Norman effing Rockwell, it's just the lyrics made me laugh. Like I probably can't say them because,
No, well, we
could beep 'em.
We could beep
but
'em.
it's like, goddamn man child, you fucked me so good that I almost said I love you. It's just like, I guess I was just cracking myself up.
Why aren't you writing greeting cards, Lana?
Thank
Seriously, that's amazing.
Thank you. Next foray.
The album will be available everywhere tomorrow. By the way, does and on all the digital services, but does that also include physical? Are we talking CD and vinyl tomorrow as well? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We have to take a very quick break. Lana, you stand by. We've got many more questions for you. Thank you again for coming. It's so great to see you. We'll be right back with Lana Del Rey right after this on the world famous K-Rock.
Thank you.
And we are sitting with Lana Del Rey here on the world famous K-Rock. What was it? A couple years ago you played the Weenie Roast, Lana?
I think
Does it sound right?
if it wasn't 2, it was
2,
close
3?
to that. No,
Oh my gosh.
definitely not 3. Yeah.
Okay.
That was fun.
your people are passionate, man.
They are.
It was you owned that crowd that day. So I know it's a little late to say this, but thanks for doing that.
I mean, it's our first chance, so okay.
Hey, listen, thank you for having me. I mean, honestly, the fact that, like, I don't want to say someone like me, but someone like me can come down and, like, play a show like that for an amazing radio station, not in the plan and super beyond my wildest dreams. Like, it just feels like rock star stuff, and it was like a lot for me. I was nervous for that show, and of course, I noticed like so many of the same kids up front that I see at a lot of the other shows. So
Right.
it was really cool.
But
Yeah.
it is cool how much like rock music has sort of embraced you. Like I'm like when I look at people's Instagram, I like don't really care about the photos. I care about the comments. And boy,
Right.
Courtney Love comments a lot on your photos.
Yes, yeah.
She really is the top of the Lana Del
She
Rey
is.
fan club. Have you hung out with her?
Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, you guys are like home. I've never had a friend as close as you and Courtney Love are.
We're homies.
All right, based on Instagram alone.
Yeah.
You both recorded Season of the Witch, too. Is that a coincidence?
I actually didn't know she recorded Season of the Witch.
Yeah, she did a nice job. And it's very different from your version, too, which
I'm
is another
sure.
great song to check out. All right, you hit on something that I wanted to ask you about, Lana, because you talked about how it's beyond your wildest expectations playing a show like that and the success you've had in your headline festivals and everything like that.
Yeah.
I just finished rereading Keith Richards' autobiography, Life, which is maybe one of the best rock autobiographies ever written.
Yeah, I
And he
never read that.
It's so great. But he talks about how much he pushed back on the pop star aspect of his job. He's like, look, I don't care about the TV shows and I don't care about the videos. I don't care about any of that stuff. I only want to make music. That's all I care about is making music. And everything else is a distraction for me. You ever have any part of that, or do you love being able to run the total package and make it a multimedia experience for yourself?
I really like being in the middle of the mix. I just find sometimes like I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be there because like I don't really know that all that many people like I don't know, like I think of Father John Misty or like the National but then I do have friends who are super out there like Ariana Grande or
I mean, you have a song coming out with Miley Cyrus and Ariana Grande.
I do.
So you are definitely riding the line between sort of being in that scene and not being in that scene.
Yeah, we out there.
You out there.
we
Nah,
out there
you
now.
out there. You can't be in the Charlie's Angels movie and not be out there.
That's correct.
Yeah, I get it.
Have you seen the Charlie's Angels movie yet, by the way?
No, we had 3 clips that we got.
It
to
looks
see.
amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be so fun. I mean, we've got girl power to the nth degree.
I would say. Yeah.
And Elizabeth Banks directed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
part of the
cool.
reason that you don't know if you're going to fit in or not because you sort of create your own lane.
I think it's just the sound.
Yeah.
You know, like
How will it mash with everything
it's just
else?
so much slower. You know, sometimes, for instance, like if I headline, like when I played Glastonbury, you know, I was just like, it's gonna be a lot of ballads. You know, can I get the energy going in the same way but a different way? Because like I'm concerned about the crowd. Like I want it to feel cool.
Yeah, of course.
And you can't really plan for it. So I just never really want to be somewhere where like it's just a different vibe.
Is there anybody that you hate to follow that you've followed?
You mean
The
on,
band before
Like
you?
playing.
on a stage?
Yes. Because I feel like you would check that out just to sort of make sure.
Well, I mean,
The vibe.
I guess tonally too.
the vibe, yeah.
I think it's mostly always been
It's like Guar, then
It's
you would be a
mostly-
problem.
yeah.
Or like Anthrax and then Lana.
But like you would be surprised.
I'm sure they're big fans. I'm just saying, like, I wonder if you want to do that. Like, yo, the Guar just had a man eaten by a large manitor. Do you want to come out and do Lana Del Rey songs?
No, actually, the first one of the first big shows I ever did, I want to say it was somewhere like Antwerp. I don't know. It was a classic rock fest, and like I'm delusional, so I'm thinking I'm gonna fit right in.
I could totally do this.
Yeah, it was. I want to say Springsteen, and I think Lionel Richie was there, and someone else. And my shows have been going so well, and this was just right in the middle, a festival right in the middle of the summer, and I thought this is gonna be amazing, and the crowd was like stunned in a bad way.
Oh,
'cause
no.
I was
Well,
all
you don't want to cross those Lionel Richie hardcore stands, man. You gotta be careful.
that
They'll come at you.
They will come at you in foreign territory. It was shocking. That was probably my most shocking show where I reevaluated what I was
Really?
doing.
So you walked off and went,
No more Lionel.
Yeah.
Got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
This is the voice of Lana Del Rey. We're talking about Norming Effin' Rockwell, which is the album that is coming out, available everywhere tomorrow. By the way, here's a fun fact from Billboard magazine. Born to Die, one of your previous records, Lana, you probably know this, is one of only 3 women in history. That album, you were one of 3 women in history on the Billboard chart to have an album spend at least 300 weeks on the charts. 300 weeks.
Yep, I
the
heard
other
that.
2 are Adele for 21 and Carole King's Tapestry.
How about that?
That's
That
amazing.
is crazy.
That is crazy.
That is. What is that?
I mean, even though you would say, who's Adele? But if I grabbed you as a teenage year and was like, you're going to be listed with Carol, like, you know what I mean? Like, you would be like, this is insane. Like,
Yes.
you wouldn't even come close to believing that.
No, especially because like when I was younger, the women I knew who were older, like Carole King, Tapestry, Joni Mitchell, Blue. I mean, I heard that constantly and never really listened to too much of it until I was in college. So
Those are like Bibles for like
Total
for like
Bibles.
all
Yeah.
my therapists. Like every therapist I've ever had, those are her favorite albums.
really,
Yeah,
I
you know,
feel
it's like that Meryl Streep character, like the woman wearing like
No,
the
that's
blanket
good,
top.
though.
Yeah, like
you
they
must
love.
have good
I do.
assistants.
Numerous, numerous help is needed.
So
therapy.
much. It takes
Lot
a
of therapy.
village.
Takes a village.
We can't let you go without asking because we played it and I forgot to say something coming out, but people will be curious how you ended up covering the Sublime song that's such a huge hit for us on K-Rock right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for playing that song. I did that song because the label I'm signed to is producing the documentary about Sublime's life story.
Interesting.
So they asked a bunch of people to cover different songs, and I, obviously said yes and went down. But I mean, I definitely thought about it just because I do love Sublime so much, and
Sure.
was like, it's like probably one of the few things I don't want to fuck up.
Oh, so you like it enough that you're afraid your involvement might.
I listen
You just don't want to have any part of
I
that.
listen to like a Sublime track probably every day. Driving, I'm just like, that makes me feel cool.
Yeah.
And I'm, yeah, even when it's in my track listing, I'm like, oh God, it's the coolest one. Sorry.
There's so much California on this album.
Oh, yeah.
So
obviously,
much California.
With that song being Long Beach and then Venice Beach and then the West Coast. I mean, there's so much California.
Yes.
Will you live here forever, Lana?
That's so funny. Yeah, I think so, but I travel quite a bit, so I'm like in northern San Diego a lot, And
You go all the way to northern San Diego?
I
Wow.
do. That 80 miles is a lot
It
in
is
traffic.
a lot. That's true in traffic for sure.
What are you talking
That's 2
about?
days, right?
That's a
true.
lifetime.
Yeah, she brings like a canteen and a tent. She's like halfway at camp. It's too long.
I do.
Yeah, too
And a
long.
Sherpa.
Yeah.
All of those things.
The songs that we've heard so far are so great.
I agree.
Best.
And we're so excited to hear the whole thing tomorrow. And
Thank you so much.
I mean, we just enjoy spending time with you whenever we can. We love catching up, and it's nice of you to include us in your very, very busy schedule, especially this week. So thank you.
I'm not that busy. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Releasing
All right,
an album.
we'll see you Monday then.
Not though.
Oh, come on.
Joining me on Alt 105.3 today is the fabulous, gorgeous, talented, I don't have enough adjectives that I could throw at you right now. Lana Del Rey is on the show. How are you, Lana?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. We love you here at Alt 105.3, and I have to be honest, I have watched your video for Fuck It, I Love You, and also your video for The Greatest about 12 times so far
Really?
today.
So awesome. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome. It's gorgeous. Like both videos. Well, The Greatest, it just gives me goosebumps just lyrically and visually in the video. Just something about it is just so calming and beautiful.
Thank you.
Who came up with the concept for these videos? I'm really curious as far as how you came up with this idea to be out there surfing and then to be at the beach and the Muscle Beach and all that stuff.
Well, I came up with the concept, and I've been working with this guy for the last couple of years named Rich Lee. He is a video director, and he liked the idea. I told him, I said, I want to do something kind of raw and fun and just do a full surfing video. So we started with just doing some surfing footage out past Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
And then, funny enough, I got a random, well, actually, I sent a text to Rick Rubin, and I said, I'm at home, and it looks like you've got like a 6-part series documentary. I'm going to watch the first one. And he said, oh, thanks. What have you been up to? And I said, I just shot a surfing video. And then he said, I hope that you made it so that you look like Annette Funicello with like wedding cake hair on your head. And I was like, I definitely didn't. I did it like in my wetsuit. And he was like, well, can you film anything where you like make it funny? So I called Rich and I was like, Rich, can we just do this one more idea and like somehow fit it into the thing where I'm like with a big bodybuilder? And yeah, so we kind of kept adding to the video, much to Rich's dismay. He was like, oh God.
No, that's what made it fun. It looked cool, like with you and the bodybuilder and the TV, and yeah. Very nostalgic.
Yeah.
So can you really surf?
I'm trying. It's one of the things I said I wanted to do in the last like 8 years. So, I get my butt out there like once a week, and I don't know if I'm getting better, but I can get up.
That's pretty impressive. Girl, you and me both. I grew up in LA, and I don't know why I never surfed because I used to go to the beach all the time. Like, I could have learned, and I never did. Now I regret it.
Yeah, but you can do it now. That's the whole thing. I was like, I felt so stupid trying to do it now. But the thing, I love to swim, so I'm, in the water, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week, and I thought, like, I've got to just try it. So it's definitely fun.
You're lucky. So I'm up in the Bay Area now, but I was down in LA last weekend, and I was in Santa Monica and Venice, and I just jumped into the ocean because it's so much warmer down there. Probably a lot easier to get out there and surf when the water's not quite as chilly as the rest of the country.
Is it really that cold in the water up in San Fran?
Yeah, so I don't even go in the water because it's just not the same as it is. I mean, yeah, I used to go to Zuma. That was my spot. And it's just a few degrees warmer down there. And there's just something about the comfort of knowing I grew up going in that ocean. I don't know the ocean here that well, and it's a lot colder. So I haven't really gone down that road. But people are always surfing. Like, surfing is huge up here. But I'd have to be in a full-on head-to-toe wetsuit, and I don't know if I'm willing to kind of go down that road.
I have to say, for me, it was like, it's such a commitment, but it really was so fun. I feel like it's a very cool little mentality out there, everyone who wants to kind of get up early before work and try and get in the water. There's definitely a little magic that happens out there.
Do you think about writing songs when you're out on the water? Is it like a creative process thing, or is it more so that you just tune out all of the work stuff?
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting to. I used to go down to Zuma, too, and just kind of stay in the surf, like in the shallow end, just swimming around. I was saying before, I feel like as long as I'm just out of the house and I'm doing something different, even like when you don't really want to do it, that's when I kind of get a good idea.
No, that makes sense. Do you still party, or are you just totally chill now out there surfing in the mornings? Or you still go out and have fun and hang out with all your friends, or is your life changed?
I was like hitting the clubs, I guess, at the beginning of last year, but I mean, it was nothing crazy. I just had friends who like would go out in Hollywood. So I'll kind of stop by places, but I mean, it's definitely not like, not that.
Not every weekend.
Yeah, I show up in my jeans and my flannel, trying my hardest to vibe out with the Instagram thoughts.
Right? Well, that's the beauty of being Lana Del Rey, is that you can kind of show up in anything and it works.
Yeah, we make it work.
That's awesome. So are there any artists, musicians, celebrities out there that if you could just go out for drinks or like go out to dinner with anyone out there, any celebrity that you haven't hung out with, who would you want to hang with?
Well, you know who I had coffee with a couple weeks ago is Camila Cabello.
I heard she's amazing and such a sweetheart.
And, like, she was just so sweet. So, like, that's the kind of stuff that I love. Or, like, every now and then I get to see Ariana Grande. And, again, like, just, like, that super sweet, like, really creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I don't know, like, I love Don Henley. From the Eagles.
Yep.
So a lot of like those California bands. I mean, I love Joni Mitchell, love Joan Baez. I mean, I'd love to pick anybody's brain over dinner for sure.
You've done some work with Stevie Nicks as well, which is...
I have, yeah.
Do you just pinch yourself when you think about that?
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, and afterwards she gave me a little tiny necklace with an H on it because now I can't even remember if I did an interview for her or if she did it for me a couple years ago, but we were joking about that we were going to end up living in a little house under the H of the Hollywood sign. And so she gave me an H on a chain, and I thought, how lucky am I that, someone like her would even think about me for my birthday. I mean, it was just like total dream come true kind of thing.
Well, I think that's a testament to the type of person you are. I mean, you seem like you have a very sweet spirit about you. Again, I mean, just talking to you on the phone, but everyone has nothing but great things to say about you. And if Stevie Nicks is giving you a necklace with meaning for your birthday, I think you're doing something right.
I think so too. That was what I thought that day. I was like, we're good. We're doing great.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait for Norman fucking Rockwell to drop on the 30th of the month. I've already dubbed your cover of Sublime's Doing Time as my personal song of summer. I can't get enough of it.
Thank you so much. That's so awesome.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I mean, you made magic with a song that was already great. Do we have any more covers that we can expect from you in the near future?
Let's see. I did a little cover of Season of the Witch for this kind of like young horror movie for Guillermo del Toro that came out 2 weeks ago. And that's kind of like a cool little 60s vibe.
Yeah.
And did I do any other covers? No, I don't think I have anything going on. Although, for the last couple of years on the side, I've been doing some kind of like along the lines of the surf stuff. I've been doing some sort of like West Coast covers just for fun. So I feel like maybe one day in the next couple of years, I'd sort of like to put them out there for fun.
You should. So you've got them recorded that you do it just for fun? You just haven't released them?
Yeah, well, there's like a couple guys that we used to have a little side band, which has since disbanded, but we did some covers at the time, and I always thought they sounded kind of good because it was done live, like all singing and playing all kind of on a couple mics.
Yeah.
It was pretty different, but yeah, I've been thinking about that.
Well, you did a beautiful cover, and honestly, everything that comes out of your mouth is just gorgeous. You're so talented. And I'm not just trying to like pander to you because, listen, there are a lot of people out there making great music, but you certainly have a gift, and I can't wait to see you at the Greek Theater in Berkeley. You're going to be here Sunday, October 6th.
It's coming up so soon.
I know. You've got this tour going up the coast. You're doing 8 cities, and it's going to be kind of a whirlwind. But do you still get nervous at all?
Well, okay, I get nervous to do something like the Greek or the Hollywood Bowl in LA just because the venues are so beautiful. Like, I want to make it special.
Mm-hmm.
But this tour is going to be a little different because I'm going to have special guests in all the open air, like, theaters or venues. So, yeah, I mean, now I'm actually feeling more excited because I'm just, like, trying to ask all my friends to come down and sing all their favorite songs. So,
it's going to be such a cool, different type of performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. I saw you in Vegas a few years ago at the Cosmopolitan, and it was fantastic. So I'm really excited to see your upcoming show and, see all your guests that you have with you and hear you make musical magic at the Greek in Berkeley. So I really hope I get to see you. If you come by the station, I want to give you a big hug and tell you I think you're fantastic. So,
Well, I will come down to the station. So let's make that happen and definitely make sure, yes, that you're at the show. That would be amazing.
okay, awesome. Well, you have been such a pleasure to talk to this morning. I am so happy for your success. Can't wait for Norman fucking Rockwell to drop. And I love saying the name of your album.
It does crack me up every time I hear it. I love it too. Thank you.
No, it's great. And I'm not going to say NFR on air. I'm going to say Norman fucking Rockwell. I'm just going to bleep myself.
Oh my God. Okay, I was gonna say, are you just gonna go for it?
No, I'd lose my job. Are you kidding me?
Okay, no, we don't want that.
Lana Del Rey, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right, girl. I'll see you next month.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
It's an exciting, evening here in London for you with 2 tracks dropping right now. I Love You and The Greatest.
Yep.
There's so much to talk about. I don't know where to start, but tell me about, first of all, I Love You, because we're going to press play on that. Tell me about that.
That one was the last track I did for the record, and I wanted also something with some surf drums. So we did that last, and it's just a little bit of a mood track, and I knew that I wanted to do a video where I was surfing in it. So it was more of like a fun thing to put together. And then as we were shooting the little music video, we were shooting in Long Beach, and I was like, you know what? We should also just do a quick video for this song called The Greatest also, because that one's about Long Beach. So luckily we got to do 2 and put them together as one 8-minute video. And yeah, I just thought they were 2 good tracks to put out next.
And the world is going to see you surfing?
Well, trying.
I can't wait.
I mean, something like surfing.
So the album you're talking of, Norman, I can't say, I wish I could say it as it should be said, but Norman Rockwell is dropping Friday week. Your 6th album, and it just feels like you're in a really good place and enjoying your creative process.
I am. And I was before, but there was just so much more to it. There was just so many more layers, I feel like, over the last maybe 8-9 years. And I think one thing that makes it a little easier now is there's so many more like eclectic artists that people don't really ask as many of the harder questions, as in, what's wrong with you? If you write a sad song, it's a little bit easier to just be like, well, that was the mood I'm in, and that was just what I wrote. So yeah, I am enjoying it more because I know that transitional period between writing and putting it out is just a little smoother.
Lana, you mentioned earlier on in the conversation about the idea of this being your 6th album and the idea of the complications around making an album and the creative process being stripped away. How can you tell me more about that? I'm interested in that and how you've managed to simplify the process and kind of evolve as an artist and know exactly what you want and how you want it done.
Well, I think the creative process, while I'm alone and with whoever my producer is, that's always been easy. It's more like afterwards, just kind of, I don't always want to talk about it afterwards. So that's the part where, I used to think more about. But in terms of putting out each record, like, whether it was Ultraviolence that had a little bit of a different sound to Born to Die, or this one which has a little bit of a different sound to all of the other records, I never worry too much about it.
I was talking to someone about you today, and we were both saying the reason why you stand out as an artist is because you stand out for not fitting in, if you know what I mean. It never feels like you've ever wanted to do that or aspired to. You're in your own lane, happily, it feels.
Yeah. I really treasure, like, my friends and my fellow artists who I know who really value like that place of coming from, like what you're authentically, what your soul is feeling turning all the way inward and putting that down and knowing that there's like real merit, real value to just telling your own life story and a life examined through song and dance. And it's really, sometimes like when I'm on stage with my two girlfriends who dance with me on like as our show has progressed, I think, isn't this amazing? Like my life has become about like self-expression through song and like this kind of interpretive dance. And it's very, sometimes I just kind of feel so lucky, like it's just a really creative process.
Well, listen, Lana, it is always such a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for playing the record. I'm so excited about it.
So let's play this track then off the album dropping Friday week. This is I Love You. This is Lana Del Rey. New music on Radio 1. And as I said on Twitter, an absolute dreamboat. I kicked off by asking her what significance Norman Rockwell, who, by the way, is an American author, painter, illustrator, real iconic artist over in America, what significance he had to her to the point where he was pretty much the title of the record.
Well, when I was younger, he wasn't necessarily an artist that I personally saw all around. But when I was writing, I can't say the title of this track either. But when I was writing Venice, Biatch.
Let's say that.
Okay. I had this little line in the second verse that was about, being in love and having someone painting me blue. And then I just randomly threw out, like paint me blue like Norman Rockwell. And then it just kind of made me smile. I thought that's cute. That's kind of, that'd be an interesting title if you played with it. And then, obviously I'm not like a huge political writer, or I haven't in the past had a lot of political songs, but it also kind of reminded me that if I put the effing in between the Norman and Rockwell, it would be like a little bit of for me, it's like a little bit of a commentary, like an exclamation point on the American dream. Like, where are we now in the American dream? Like, well, Norman effing Rockwell. Like, this is where we've come. We're kind of in a state of exclamation, and culturally, everything's super different, I feel, like today than it was 10 years ago. Like, it's a lot more fiery and fun, and there's a lot more different personalities. And yeah, so it's definitely an interesting time, called for an interesting title.
And you mentioned, being political. I saw in your Instagram post when you were posting about Looking for America, about the idea of kind of, you're saying, I'm not a politician, excuse me for having an opinion. Have you found it hard before being able to express yourself politically as an artist? And do you think it's possible to do that successfully today?
I personally found it impossible to almost have any opinion without being torn to shreds completely, even if it was about my own writing. And obviously I have to look for what my part is in that. Why am I making it so hard for people to look past certain things so that I'm able to have an opinion? But like, I remember, for instance, I believe I had an interview with The Sun in Australia like 10 years ago, and they asked me who one of my idols was, or like what was one of my big inspirations for my songwriting. And I said James Ellroy, who wrote like LA Confidential and The Black Dahlia. And this guy was like, James Ellroy, what do you have in common with James Ellroy? And I was like, well, I didn't say I had anything in common. He was just an inspiration to me. So it's, I think that's why I feel the need sometimes to preface certain songs with, hey, I know I'm not this, I know I'm not that. Whereas really I should just be like, this is my song. But, the important thing is, well, I think the most important thing is the song and the intention. And the intention is, really good and, again, kind of thoughtful. And at California and New York, at least, where I was between both states when that double mass shooting happened, when I released the song, and people were very upset in a way that I personally have not heard my friends talk before. Crying, is it going to be next at our holiday? It was really scary because at that point it was a really large number of people who had been shot, and it's only August.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really scary. Looking at it from the outside as well, like from Europe, looking in, it's just quite shocking, and it feels relentless. And also the most terrifying thing is it's starting to become normalized. You're seeing those headlines and they're not a shock anymore. And that's the scariest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, especially now on your phone, like when you wake up, you've got your news feed right there and you see it. You see a headline and something, mass shooting in Kansas or something, and then you keep scrolling.
Yeah.
It's like,
totally.
It's like it's every few days.
Yeah.
I think it's a time to stop and ask why.
Lana Del Rey there making reference to some strong language. And there's more from her coming straight after this. I Love You on Radio 1. And for BBC Radio 1 as part of the Live Lounge month. So you're going to be here in this building in just a few weeks.
Yep.
Well, listen, Lana, it is always such a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for playing the record. I'm so excited about it.
Great, and we're going to play the greatest now, because we played I Love You earlier, so we're going to play the greatest now, and we look forward to hearing the full thing. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
This is your job as a radio professional.
I don't know
well,
about
that's
that.
fine, because I am very excited to talk to Lana Del Rey, and you come on.
I'm here.
We're Dana and Jason. Alt 94.9, San Diego's alternative, on the line right now with Lana Del Rey.
Hey, Lana, you're on with Dana and Jason.
So glad I'm on with you guys.
We're so excited to talk to you. It's like in this moment, just days before the album is released.
I know. So cool.
When you're having like this 3 days away from the album coming out, it comes out Friday, do you feel nerves or do you feel excited, anticipating? Like, how would you put words around how you feel right now?
Well, I wasn't nervous at all until today. And all of a sudden I'm like, what is going on? I'm really thinking about it. When it's really time to put it out, it's like objectively, I do really like the song. So I hope people like it. But I don't really think about it until I start talking about it.
Well, did you go online today at all?
Oh.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, it's actually good. There is this whole featured spot of you, and an article that just came out this morning. One of the things it said was Lana Del Rey is about to have a moment. And since this record is one of the most highly anticipated pop albums of the year, Friday can't come quickly enough.
Wow.
Oh, man. Funny. Isn't that funny? I feel like sometimes people say people are going to have a moment, like, for no reason. It's just like you get lucky and all of a sudden you're having a moment. I feel like you just have to stick around long enough.
Oh.
Everyone gets a moment.
And then you get a little moment.
This album was also called your most adventurous and candid album yet. And we heard that you weren't even in the mood to write it before it all even started. Is that true?
Yeah. When I met Jack Antonoff a year and a half ago, I really was sort of purposely not writing. Just because I was, hanging out, doing other stuff. It definitely got me thinking that maybe it was time to just jump into another record.
And so then did the inspiration all come kind of rushing at you? Because to go from just not feeling down to writing or just not in the mood in that moment?
Well, so when I went down there, we wrote one song in about a half an hour, and it was called Love Song. It was one of those moments, kind of like when you meet a boyfriend and you're like, oh my gosh, like there's something really good here. Like we should definitely keep working.
Well.
So every single little thing we did, I mean, in my mind was perfect.
Well, and we heard that for your writing that you say that you're on writing schedule. And we were kind of talking about, like, we wonder, do you have to go anywhere specific?
Not always, but you know what? Funny enough, I'm actually in northern, like, San Diego a lot. I leave LA and then I come back. I love to write anywhere except home.
Interesting.
I just feel like I've got so much going on here that like I can't quite find the inspiration. But if I'm driving or if I'm kind of waiting online or just something random. I have to get out of the house, though.
We're on the phone right now with Lana Del Rey, 3 days away from her album, Norman Rockwell, coming out.
Only Lana could make you say that word.
It's actually true. It is true. 6 songs already released, 14 on the album. She wrote all of them except for this one, where she covered one of her favorite songs from one of her favorite bands, Sublime. It's doing time right now on Alt 94.9. More with Lana next. Oh my gosh, so much bonding with Lana Del Rey is happening off the air. We actually have to put that up online.
Oh.
All of the bonus conversation with Lana, we're going to put that up, alt949radio.com, when we put up the entire interview.
We got 20 minutes with her. We were only supposed to get 10.
I know, we got a little bit of trouble for that. That's fine. On the phone right now with Lana Del Rey, 3 days away from her 6th album coming out. And Lana, you've been doing this successfully for 15 years. This album written differently or recorded differently than in the past. What do you think led to where you are now with putting this album together in this way?
Well, I do feel like such a creative person at my core. And that's, I think, why I said sometimes I feel like songs are writing me, and it's like annoying. So in that way, I think this year I started thinking a lot about doing things differently. I think it's been really interesting for me to just see, like, yeah, if I take a trip up to Big Sur with my girlfriends and we do, you know, like some meditation classes, or if I switch up the person that I've been writing with for so long, will the music sound different? And I don't know why. I guess I'm very, like, stuck in my ways. So it's been nice to just actually be a little more adventurous in my own life. I'm also pretty shy. So for me to just kind of, like, go out and do stuff and explore and, you know, like, try surfing. You know, I always said I wanted to surf. So, like, let's try it.
Right.
It's so funny. When I was trying to learn how to surf, the instructor was so funny. He was like, yo, you're never going to be a surfer. Like, real surfers, they get up, they wake and bake, and they're not afraid of the rocks. And I was like, oh, because I was so scared of falling.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like there's been so many little things I've tried that have been metaphors for, you know, like, trying to do things differently. And it's been, I don't know, it's been fun.
And I think that's really brave to be open to trying something completely different when you've had success doing it a certain way in the past.
Yeah.
That's big. And and I would never have thought you were shy. Like, that's pretty surprising.
Really?
No, I wouldn't
Oh
have
my
thought
gosh,
that.
I feel like that's so obvious. I feel like if I wasn't shy, I feel like God only knows what I would be doing. Like, I don't even know where I'd be right now. I'd probably be, like, chatting to you on speakerphone, like, in the middle of the mall, laughing my head off, like, just being a little weirdo, you know?
I think it's because I always would associate you with confidence, and people have said Lana always knew who she was. Or maybe it was just around your work, but it seemed very confident because you had your own direction and voice. And
I do feel confident in the writing. I think that's why I write so much. I like that works. I know that I like that.
Oh, Jason's raising his hand and leaning towards the microphone.
Dana has had her opportunity to ask all of her
I feel so good about
conversations, but I would like to interrupt for 5 seconds and get down to the hard-hitting questions from myself, Lana, if that's okay.
God, how hard are they?
How hard are they hitting?
Listen, Lana, you're a gay icon, but I myself is a gay man, and I just want to see basically if we are compatible. So I have like 5 rapid-fire questions just to see if we can be like, you know,
friends.
Exactly, and like hang out at Starbucks and talk. That's all I want to do. Okay, we're at Starbucks. Are you going to order a pumpkin spice latte or a unicorn frappuccino?
I mean, I'm going to order a unicorn frap, and I'm not going to drink it.
Oh, I like that. For the gram.
I like the look, but pumpkin spice tastes better.
Yeah, boom. I like that. Okay, so if you had to pick one, who would best represent your spirit animal? Dorothy, Rose, Blanche, or Sophia from the Golden Girls?
I'm not a Golden Girls girl.
Okay.
Whoever the one was that dated the most.
Blanche. We had our first bump in the road, but I feel really still solid about us, Lana. Don't worry.
God.
And then last but not least, would your drag name, if you were a drag queen, be Ivana Del Slay
Oh.
or Charlemagne Duvet?
Ivana, definitely.
Yeah,
I love it.
Ivana. And don't worry, I did go to a drag queen name generator.
Where does the Charlemagne come in? It's so...
It was
no.
it was very weird. I had to act like I was you, and well, I don't know. There were things that happened. Don't worry.
I love it. Oh, my God. Good question.
Thank you. We are compatible, and I will meet you at the Starbucks when you come down to San Diego.
I love it. I'm down there quite a bit.
Yep. We will also see you October 11th, Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater here in San Diego. What's being called her most adventurous and most candid album ever, her 6th album, Norman Rockwell, comes out this Friday. Lana Del Rey, such a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. So nice to talk to you.
One thing we were talking about is that you go viral pretty often.
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, we
Yeah.
we see a lot of headlines, and then sometimes it's regards to things that you'd say, and it'd be like kind of out of context.
I know. Well, I feel like because I don't say that much that often, it's just that if I do say anything, I think that's why sometimes I just don't say very much. I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
When you see something that was taken out of context or maybe misrepresented, are you the type of person that doesn't care, or is there like a huge sense of frustration that wells up?
No, I definitely care.
You care.
Like, well, really, there was only one thing that ever bugged me, which was like I did an interview a couple years ago where this dude was like, do you feel like you want to die young because you want to be like Kurt Cobain?
Oh, God.
And Jim Morrison.
Oh.
I was like, well, of course I love Kurt Cobain and Jim Morrison, but like, if I feel like I want to die, like, it's not because I want to be like them. It's literally because, like, I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, he wanted to make that the headline.
Oh.
And I was really upset because the way he started that interview was really, like, way more than most people was as a fan and kind of, like, sort of, like, endearing himself to me before he even pressed record. And I felt that brought up a lot of stuff for me because I feel like there are people who do that and then there's people who don't. And like why not just straightforward about like how you kind of feel and then we can just like meet in the middle or not meet in the middle. But so like that's really one of the only times I can picture being really upset about that. Well, especially because like I'm friends with Courtney.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it just made everything really not comfortable.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
totally. And then do you deal with it like talking to a friend about it, or do you feel like I need to say something to correct this, or do you just have to let it go?
In that case, I believe I went on one of my miniature rants. If I read something about myself that I just know isn't true, but it's by someone who's never met me, then I'll just talk to a friend about it. And say, can you believe, But if it's something I actually said, then I get like a little nervous because, I mean, it's kind of not right to write something that, to kind of twist it up a little bit. But I don't know. I do remind myself lately that like that is what's been going on since the dawn of, I guess, like entertainment journalism or whatever.
That's true.
I feel better about it like this year than I did. With my first album, I was kind of like, oh, God, what is going on?
Yeah. Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, the 6th album is coming out Friday. That is amazing. We've loved the 6 tracks so far. We can't wait to hear the rest of it. You've had so much success and endless awards, Grammy nominations, tours around the world, playing stadiums, covering one of your favorite artists, Sublime, which is awesome. What is something in the last 15 years you haven't done yet that really stirs within you to say, like, I want to do this. I hope I get to do that.
Just in general?
I mean, it could be in regards to your career, but we'll take in general anything you want to share. We're leaning in.
Right? No, I know, because, well, career-wise, I think one thing I'd really like to do is, like, I'd love to sit down and talk to some people and ask them how they did what they did. Like Joan Baez, for instance. Like, I saw her at Santa Barbara, like a little venue in Santa Barbara, and, she's been playing for 60 years, and I'd kind of like to know just kind of what her process is, and I think I'd like to just talk to more people who are still making music who are women.
Yeah.
I love
Sometimes
that.
I feel like sometimes I get like a little nervous because I can't think of like who sounds sort of like me who's still playing bigger venues.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, what's that going to look like 5 years, 10 years? And
Well, we would YouTube that so hard if you get that series where you
Yeah.
interview
Oh,
those
gosh, I
female
got
artists.
chills.
Oh, we have chills.
oh, well, that's a good idea. Maybe that's yet to come. I like that idea too.
There are very few things that rattle me to my core, but I've been rattled. My core has been rattled.
I know,
I don't necessarily agree with that premise, but okay.
but you are seemingly disturbed.
Fill my hands.
I don't want to. I get it. They're clammy. I felt them
Take your
before.
word for it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got it. We're Dana and Jason, producer Jack, Alt 94.9, San Diego's alternative.
Apparently, Dana, we made a very good impression with Lana Del Rey because now she is following our little show Twitter. And she only follows 1,300 people.
You're shaken to your core.
I'm still a part of that generation that, like, when a celebrity acknowledges any existence of you, then I feel seen. I don't think she followed, like, Alt 94.9.
No, she felt.
Dana and Jason talk. We have literally, like, I don't know, one follower, and I believe it's my mom.
It's your mom. She's on Twitter all of a sudden.
What's up, Lana? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so great. I'm very stoked to tell you this little tidbit about my life. So every Sunday, my fiance and I, we are cooking. We make tacos typically every Sunday, and we throw on an album to listen to in its entirety. And it's often your music. So thank you for making great taco making music. We really appreciate it.
Come on. That's so freaking cute. Do you know, on my way back home, I just stopped at this little drive-through taco place, and I met, like, the cutest guy who's worked there for 50 years.
Aw.
And he's like, I love listening to your music while I'm cooking. So I got a double taco day.
Wow. So do you think Norman fucking Rockwell's a taco making album?
Apparently. But actually, yes, I do. Yeah.
What do you think is the perfect thing to do while listening to the new album, in your opinion? What's the vibe?
I think, like, maybe beach vibes.
Yeah.
Hanging out, sort of like waiting around vibes.
Par for the course as far as your music's concerned, basically. Just chill,
Pretty much.
summery.
Yeah.
I love it. What's the day before an album drop like for you?
It's different every time, but I don't know, ever since, I guess like a couple of days ago, I really started thinking about it for this week because we've got a couple fun little things we're doing, like out here in California, like some ice cream trucks and like listening sessions at Amoeba. So I don't know. It's definitely a lot. But sometimes it's not, you know. Sometimes I just give them the record and I don't know. Today I actually got to go down to my label at Interscope and we had a little ice cream truck out there. So
Nice.
I hung out for an hour. That was fun.
Just some ice cream, some new music. It's great. It's casual.
Yeah.
Take us through a day in the studio with Jack Antonoff and the crew. What was the process like with this one?
Some days I would come in with something fully formed, and some days Jack would have a couple of chords that he really wanted to play for me. And some days we had absolutely nothing going on, and we just would sit around and kind of work on stuff for him or just hang out. So it kind of depended on the day. But I guess when I met him, I wasn't really writing, and he played a few chords for me for a song that ended up being called Love Song. And I just realized, like, he's definitely the musician I've been waiting to meet. Because I wasn't sure if he was going to be super, like if he was going to have one real style, but I feel like he can really kind of get into anybody's lane, you know?
Yeah, the versatility that he's displayed and the chemistry you two have displayed on the songs thus far have been wild. I've watched a couple interviews where you talk about Jack and his chord game, and you just love how he works his chords. I was in band. I'm a geek, so I want to know what's your
Really?
Yeah. Oh, Lana, we can get into it if you want to, but I want to know what your favorite chord is.
Favorite chord is E minor,
Okay.
yes, or a regular E.
Really? I like the more like the G major 7. I want some dissonance in there. Like it's kind of pensive. The more notes the better in my book.
I like a G major 7. I like a D minor. I mean, it's got to be some kind of minor something.
I'll feel it. Now, in a similar vein, what is your favorite musical moment on the album that we should be looking out for?
I like that Venice Bitch is 10 minutes.
So that's kind of fun. Let's see. I love the title track. I think that's got to be close to my favorite. The title track, Norman fucking Rockwell. I just think it's like a very cool melody and kind of funny, and I don't know.
Hey, don't forget, you kind of flexed on "Fuck It, I Love You" with the da na 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 na. Then it resolves to the pre-chorus. Yo, it's great.
Really?
Oh, it's fire.
My God, thank you so much. That's the song we were playing out of the ice cream truck, and it was going along with the mood quite swimmingly.
An immaculate vibe. So your music is timeless, right? It exists outside of trends and fads. When you hear a new fad or trend emerge, do you consciously go in the opposite direction, or is that just your gift?
No, I like, well, I mean, not all the time, but I like most of the stuff I hear that's new. I mean, to the point where I'd want my stuff to be more like that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I try, like to just kind of open up, or sometimes I don't, and it ends up sounding different depending on who I work with. I think just because so much of this stuff is just rooted in that singer-songwriter lane, it ends up having like a little bit more of a classic feel, but some of the stuff that I like work on that I don't put out is a little weirder. I don't know.
You should release those. Just saying. But do societal and political events nowadays affect how you write songs?
Well, in the past, I would say politically it didn't influence my music all that much, although maybe like in terms of social commentary, there was always my own version of like just observing what was going on within the songs in a small way. But, in the last few years, like with my last record, Lust for Life, and with this one, there's a few nods to just like, I don't know how I'd say it, the state of the nation, the state of
humanity,
the state of, like, the culture.
Yeah, as most art does, I guess.
Yes.
Do you have any Minnesota memories? Anything that stands out about our lovely state?
Hell yeah. So shout out to Minnesota. My brother has lived there for 4 years in Minneapolis. My baby, Charlie.
Wow.
Who is also an amazing artist. He's a director and a singer. And yeah, so anytime I'm out there, I mean, just go to the mall, go run around, find little bookshops. I'm there every now and then.
Can we go to a local coffee shop and talk some shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Here's a fun fact. My first boyfriend is from Minneapolis. We're still really good friends, and so are a handful of my best friends as well, because they all moved together from Minnesota to New York 15 years ago, and we're all in L.A. now.
You're one of us by proxy, basically.
I mean, I'm
wow.
just saying.
And then last question. You figure skated for 15 years. What song of yours do you think would make for the best figure skating routine?
Definitely Young and Beautiful.
Yeah. So graceful.
I've already thought about this. I'm like, should I? No.
Have you planned one? Would you? We know it gets cold here. There's icy lakes. Would you do it on the lake with us?
I would try. You know what? I will promise you that at some point in the next 7 months, I will get a miniature ice skating video in Minnesota. Even though my brother's going to move here.
Okay, that's a verbal agreement. That's binding. Hey, Lana, thank you so much for calling in. We are stoked for the album. Have an amazing night, all right?
Thank you so much.
On your 91X here in San Diego, it's Hillary with Lana Del Rey on the phone.
Hi.
Hi, Lana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Is it kind of a crazy week? Like when you have a record coming out Friday, are you just like scheduled to the gills right now, or how's your week going?
I mean, considering most of the time I am, just like outside running around and kind of writing. Yeah, like this week is definitely different from everything else. I wasn't even thinking about it until Monday, and now I'm like, wow. Yeah, it's coming out.
Yeah, and probably a lot to like talk to this person, now go here, go do this. I mean, but you kind of strike me, and this is obviously just me from the outside, but you seem like maybe, and maybe I should just ask, like, do you do your best when you are busy? And this is going back like 10 or 15 years. You have released, so many records, so many songs, so many collaborations, tons of touring. Like, is that kind of your default?
That's a really good question. Well, I do my best when I'm in California. So, like, kind of like from San Fran down to San Diego. Like, I do especially because like I've got a lot of girlfriends sort of all the way up the coast, so I kind of like just traveling and writing in between. If like for instance this record, Jack Antonoff is in town, but I mean actually I think I do really like to be busy. It's kind of when it comes time to actually talk about the record that I sort of pull back and I'm like, what am I doing? Like where are we going with all of this? But then I have to just kind of, stay in the moment and be like, it's just about whether the songs are good. I care so much just about whether the melodies are good, and so I like try and focus on that too.
Sure, absolutely. You mentioned like getting to travel and then writing, and I do want to ask about working with Jack, but just for you in general, like, yeah, when do you write your songs? Like, is it kind of always like when the mood strikes, you just, record something into your phone, or do you have kind of more of like I like to be home or I like to be wherever, and that's when I'm at my best as far as, getting really creative and writing stuff?
Well, before Born to Die, I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't put like my pen down. So I was writing all the time and loving it. And then I think maybe about like 4 years ago, I kind of started writing only when I was in the studio. So when I met Jack, I wasn't writing at all. And then we started working together, and it was just going so well that I ended up just kind of staying in the studio with him. But other than that, I wasn't writing at all, like at home or anywhere else. But now that we've been done for like a few months, I'm writing again. But I never write at home. I always write. I mostly write in the car. Like I have a little dictation thing, and I actually just keep it on for any time I'm driving, because that seems to be for me whenever I'm thinking about it the most.
That's interesting. And do you have like a favorite drive maybe that you like to take? You mentioned going up and down the coast to see your girlfriends and stuff. Like, is there a favorite route that you'll go jump on PCH and like,
Yeah. Well, I'm in Oceanside like probably every 3 days.
You're kidding.
Yeah. So, between Newport and Oceanside is where I write the most.
Oh my gosh.
And then, but I live in LA, but I stay there. I stay there at night, and then I drive home for the day. Like if I just to see, because most of my girlfriends are like right in the middle of town here. I'm in LA right now, but yeah. So I'm kind of, because I really need and like for things to be like the most low key. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like everything has to feel super normal, easy, casual. And I have to be able to find like a little cafe that I could write at, So I got a couple little spots where, like the owners are really sweet and they like, give me a little table, leave me alone. And
mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's been kind of an adventurous writing year.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just have to throw in a little plug for Wrench and Rodent. Next time you're in Oceanside, if you haven't had, I don't know if you.
No, right, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know if you eat meat or fish, but they serve sushi, and it is mind blowing. It's called Wrench and Rodent in Oceanside. So you got to check that out.
Oh my God, that's so great. Yes.
It's really, really good. Really good. Okay, so that's so funny. And I can imagine you now like cruising through Camp Pendleton where it's just wide open spaces. And I love that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to Jack Antonoff because this album, Norman fucking Rockwell, and we're not live. I can edit all this. But this new album is correct me if I'm wrong, but it's your first time working with Jack as far as writing and producing a record. Is that right?
Yeah, I met him a year and a half ago, and that was when we started working together. And yeah, I had never met him before, but we got into studio maybe a day or two after I met him, and I was really surprised at how good he was, especially because he's so young. I don't think I've ever worked with anyone who was like in their early 30s. I mean, maybe a little bit, but he just seemed so young. So when he sat down at the piano and he just kind of started playing some like freestyling some chords, I was really, really shocked. He's great.
And is it like a real collaborative process? Was it you and he sort of equally writing the songs together? And because I truly don't know like how it works. Or do you write the songs and then he fleshes them out? Like, how does that go?
Yeah, I think it's probably different with every producer, but for me, the melodies and the words are mine, and I don't really play anything anymore. So, like, you know, he'll definitely flesh the entire thing out production-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like, for each song I'll have like a instinct about whether it should just be acoustic or whether we should make it, you know, bigger or more contemporary. But usually I will bring him my melody and words and he'll start playing along with it. But for a song, for instance, like Mariner's Apartment Complex, like which is a song I put out last year,
right?
I think that I'm trying to think, but I think that may have started by him just playing a series of chords, and me just kind of, you know, we always record the entire session, just in case anything, you know, good happens within the room. But I think that's when I just started. I had some words, and I thought, you know, I'd like to put these words to those chords, but you still have to find your own melody, like over that progression. And usually it's a pretty different melody from whatever the chords are. But then, like for another song, for instance, like this other one called "Hope Is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have."
Yeah, I love that one.
I really liked that one too, and that was like a song that I had written. I'd say almost in its entirety over a couple of years, just slowly kind of piecing little phrases together. And so I would like a song like that. I brought to him in its entirety, like on my phone, on my voice notes.
Do you know, ever say like he'll come to you with something and you're like, absolutely not, Jack, not doing that?
Sometimes, but it's pretty rare. Like every now and then he'll have something that's super bombastic and really like 80s, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe we should write that for you. And actually, that's what we ended up doing. We ended up writing a couple of things for his Bleachers album, which was good for me too, because I think sometimes I get stuck on my own stuff. So, I mean, the best thing for that is just to like literally focus on someone else's thing. It gives me so much perspective.
Right, kind of get out of your own head. That sort of leads me to the Sublime cover then, because that's one we're playing here at 91X. I'm on the phone with Lana Del Rey right now, and I want to know like kind of where that came from. But I have to tell you, like when I first heard, okay, she's doing a Sublime cover, and our friends at Interscope were like, this is going to be the next single. And you know, Sublime in San Diego is like, you know,
girl. I know.
So we were like, all right, let's hear it. And then when we heard it, of course we loved it, and now
I hear you.
We're playing it. But I was a little like, okay, this better be really good, because if it's not, like, you can't really mess with Sublime down here.
I'm screwed. I know. Trust me, I know. I love Sublime. I mean, when John asked me, who runs the label, well, the way it came about was the Interscope was producing a documentary about Sublime's life story.
Right.
So they called me and asked me to do a cover of a couple of songs, but probably doing time. And I said, honestly, John, like, this is one of those things that if it goes bad, like, I feel like I personally will not recover, because it would just be so, like, embarrassing. I love this band.
Yeah.
And he was like, but then he did say, like, that Bradley's former wife did want me to do it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, even if I don't ever tell anybody that, like, I would know. And you know, that's like a little sign that, like, it doesn't really matter how it turns out. Like, I just should do it. So, and I also did it with, like, this guy that I had never worked with before, Andrew Watt, who's been producing a lot of records lately. And that was really interesting, too, because his process is super different. Like, he's really fast and kind of does everything in one cut and in one take and puts the song together really quickly. So, yeah, there were a lot of little unknowns there, but, I mean, it was fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it turned out beautifully. It is a really cool interpretation of the song, and it definitely, you can tell that you care about the song.
Yeah, I do. Oh, my God, I do. It was a risk.
Yeah, and we also heard that the Sublime family had really given you their blessing and their support, so that is extra cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got a little thumbs up there.
Yeah, I think that's important. So listen, I know you got to keep going because you got this record. Norman fucking Rockwell comes out on Friday, but we're super excited to see you October 11th here at the Open Air Theater in San Diego. It's going to be a really cool venue to see you play live in because it's a little more intimate than the last time you were in town when you played in Chula Vista.
Yeah, I can't believe I even played that venue. That was so crazy.
It's huge, but no, I think this one's going to be perfect. There's trees on the side. It's just, it's going to be an awesome show. And
that's so cool.
and so what's next? Because your U.S. tour isn't very big, and you have like a few European dates next year. But are you planning like a more extensive tour? Or what's
yeah,
next?
we're gonna go through in a much smaller way. Just do like a larger theater tour through the Midwest in April.
Oh, cool.
So there's that. Just kind of putting everything together like at different times, and yeah, that's kind of it at the moment. Just had my focus on this stuff, and then did a couple of like little cover songs for some films. So I've just been, there's been a lot of music in my life this last year, and it's been really unexpected, and it's been so much fun.
Well, that's so good to hear because I know your fans are grateful for it. We're happy and appreciative, and I would tell you good luck, but I don't feel like you need it, Lana. So thank you.
Listen, I'll take that luck.
Right on. Good luck, girl. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
It was nice talking with you, and we'll see you in San Diego October 11th, or maybe we'll spy you in Oceanside one of these days.
I know. I'm out there.
Take care, Lana.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I kind of feel like I have a new BFF, Lana Del Rey, here on 91X. It's Hillary. Remember, October 11th, that's her next 91X show at the Open Air Theater.
What's going on, guys? It's Kevin Mano here at MyFM, and what a treat this is. Lana Del Rey is with us.
Hello.
This is awesome. Congrats on the new album, which is out while we tape this. It's like 2 days.
Yes.
Woo.
I know. It's really coming up.
Yeah.
Labor Day.
There's a lot to talk about here. I want to talk about the album, working with Jack Antonoff, everything. Super fans, I'm sure you get mobbed every day. We just had one in the building that stopped in right before the interview.
Yes, she gave me a little life there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your fans are just rabid. They really are. They're crazy about you. Like, do you?
I have some dedicated fans.
It's like a whole Reddit subreddit dedicated to you and stuff.
Really?
Do you go read that stuff ever?
Are you like on Reddit?
I like to look at Reddit. I'm not like an active. I'm a lurker, as they say, just for content.
I'm
for
a
the radio
lurker.
show.
I would be more of like an Instagram lurker. I've never really been on Reddit.
Okay.
But God only effing knows what they say.
They say good stuff.
Okay.
They really do. I know the internet's a dangerous place. Do you try to stay away from it, or do you have your phone addiction like we all do?
I have my phone on me most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like go. I don't think I remember the last time I Googled myself.
Okay, that's good. That's healthy.
But I'm online, like Twitter or whatever.
Read replies and stuff on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be dangerous, not for you, but for anybody.
No.
I mean,
Every
it's
now
just
and then
such
you
a-
catch a comment that's like, I'm going to go
Do you
just jump off a bridge.
Do you suffer from the thing that we all do where you see 1,000 positive and then the one negative is the one that sticks with you?
If I read something really bad, it'll probably stick with me, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I do think some of the ways people put things is like a little bit funny. So I think some things are a little humorous, yeah.
Do you have any dummy accounts anywhere that you're, on Instagram as somebody else?
Yeah, I have one trap account.
Do you? Is that what you call it, a trap account?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's what everyone calls it.
I didn't know. This
yeah.
term is new to me.
No, it's like it's like how you look at ex-boyfriends and stuff and what they're doing and
Okay.
and like frenemies.
Gotcha. I don't have this trap account.
God, help me.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the new album, I'm going to call it Norman Effing Rockwell.
Yes.
Is that what people are calling it, or
Mhm.
it depends on the medium, I guess?
Yeah.
Or does anybody call it NFR?
Not yet.
Or just Norman Rockwell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of all of them.
Well, what I've heard, I dig.
Thank you.
And I dig the title.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you work with Jack Antonoff.
Me
He's
too.
a friend of ours around here.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, this album was the first time the two of you got together?
Mm-hmm.
What was that your decision? I mean, you were like, I have to work with this guy?
No, he was calling me.
Okay.
And, I hadn't, well, funny enough, actually, Jack and I met 9 years ago in an elevator on our way in and out of Emil Haney's little studio in New York. But I guess he was with Fun, but we didn't really say anything. We just
He was with
said
the band
hi.
at the time, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we just waved at each other in and out of the elevator. But I hadn't seen him until maybe a year and a half ago when I met him.
Yeah.
And I met him at a party, and he was like, I know you have a day off tomorrow. If you just come down to my home studio, I feel like we would really cook up something super cool. And I told him that I wasn't writing because it was one of the few times that I just wasn't
Do you
doing
take
anything.
breaks? You take breaks from writing?
I do when I'm touring,
Gotcha.
just because I get pretty tired.
Yeah.
But like I hadn't even been down there for an hour, and I was like, wow, this guy is
Really? You guys
he's
just
really
dove
unlike-
right in.
Yeah, well, he's really quarterly, like the stuff he plays just by ear and that he freestyles on. Like, I think I said this once before, but the first thing he played for me, which was just 5 chords, I wasn't even kidding, and I said, is that for me? Can I have that? And he was like, I wrote that for you. It
Oh,
was just a
wow.
progression, but it's been a long time since someone's given me something rather than me starting it off
Sure.
first, because usually I'll bring like my phone and my journal and all that. And
Yeah, so doing the whole album, was it like that? Was it like, was he bringing stuff to the table too?
so like for that song, which ended up being Love Song, I would say like he started it quarterly, and then I'll find like a counter melody. But for a song like Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, I had just journaled that, and
Okay.
I brought it to him, sang it live in acoustic, not acoustic, but a cappella.
Mhm.
And then he accompanied me. He
Gotcha.
played with me. So it was 50-50.
A collaborative effort.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I would think, I'm not a record producer, but working with all of these different people like he does,
Mhm.
it takes a special person to really kind of separate. You know, you have a much different style
Beyond
than Taylor Swift,
special.
and to go back and forth like that is
Yeah, beyond special. It's a real talent.
Sure.
And I think it's also speaks to like a real compassion, because he's not rigid like some producers, which will just be like, no,
My way or
that
the highway.
sucks.
Yeah.
And I hear that all the time. So he's just very much anything goes and casual, which is good because, yeah, that's the best way to be.
Yeah, I
like
can
you
imagine.
shouldn't. I mean, some people do good trying to like write a hit, but all of my songs that were bigger, they were slower first and almost like acoustic first.
Gotcha. Did you question putting the Sublime cover on the album, or did you know you were going to the whole time?
Well,
It's great, by the way.
Thank you.
The whole album that I've, again, like I said, what I've heard is great.
Thank you. I love the Sublime cover. I did that by the time the album was done, just because my label was producing the life story of Sublime.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me to do it. And I think like the day after it was finished, I called John, who runs the label, and I was like, it would go so good next to Venice,
Oh,
bitch.
cool.
So I don't know if you have to bleep
Yeah,
that out,
that's
but
fine. You can say
yeah. So I'm like, can we make that track 3? And yeah, it was just
That's awesome.
worked out.
And then I want to ask about the cover art. Is his name Duke? Is that
Duke
his name?
Nicholson.
Duke Nicholson. That's Jack Nicholson's grandson.
Yeah.
Are you guys friends?
Yeah,
How did
we're
this-
very good friends.
I've read online that that's him, but I didn't really see a reason or how that came to be.
He's my younger sister's best friend.
Okay.
Well, him and Wild Mud Barker. And so, yeah, we're with Duke a lot, and he's just such a cutie.
Sure.
And the reason why I loved him is because, like, well, he's younger. He's a super, like, safe, cool, funny
Okay.
personality who you can just, like, he's like a little, he's like a brother kind of. So he was someone I just knew I would feel comfortable on the boat with.
Yeah.
And
But you knew you wanted like a male counterpart for this photo session.
I did. Well, actually,
There's an alternate cover, which was
Oh,
my
okay.
first cover, and we like gave that to Urban Outfitters just for like an exclusive. But that was actually a photo of me and some of my best friends. Emma Tillman, she's married to Father John Misty,
Okay.
and Ash Rodriguez and Alex Kay, who dance with me. So we're all in a little bit of a meditative pose,
Yeah.
kind of in the style of Ladies of the Canyon. So I liked that I had other people with me
Okay.
on each cover, and I felt like, because I love like seeing my own growth, and like everyone was always making fun of me, like, you're always in front of a car on all 7 million of your records. I was like, watch me get on a boat.
By the way, 6 and 9 years or whatever, that is impressive. I mean,
it's
you're
cool.
churning out a lot of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I write a lot.
Yeah, I can tell. But you wanted to be with somebody, not just you in front of a car again.
Yeah.
Do you ever struggle with confidence? I just listened to an interview yesterday about confidence, and you mentioned you wanted to be with somebody. I would think being up on stage by yourself in front of that many people, everything about it is so vulnerable. Has that ever been an issue for you?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I meet people who are 1,000% confident, but they're the rarer kind.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like that. Even in this doing what I do, I meet a lot of people that you would think are, these huge stars and stuff, but everybody struggles with it in their own way.
Mm-hmm. Like Ariana, she's like very confident.
Yeah.
And I think choreography can also help with that as well. Like if you know where
Okay.
you are at each beat in the song, like you're almost running it like a play. But for me, I have so many ballads and they're so long.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of time to just be in that white light and just be
Sure.
emoting. But the girls that I work with, Ash and Alex, like we do have a lot of fun stuff that we do on stage now, and
Cool.
so that's made it like more dynamic for me, because
Mhm.
like you have to feel like it's interesting too, because you're playing for 2 hours every night, like all year.
Totally.
So
Does
good
your
to
mind
switch
ever
up.
wander when you're up there? Do you think about,
All the time.
what you have to get at the store or whatever?
I think about groceries. I think about if I left the house clean, or but then sometimes I'm really worried about hitting that highest note.
Like
you
if
know?
it's coming up, you see it coming and you're thinking like
I'm
you're,
always a few steps ahead of myself if I'm like in like a high C or something.
you probably have to be to make sure the breath is right and everything.
You
and
should.
you're-
You
yeah.
should. You should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then other times I'm like with a song like Shades of Cool or something, which is just like a really blue jazzy song. I'm just totally, especially if we're in an open air theater, like I'm feeling it.
Mhm.
I'm right there.
You mentioned Ariana a second ago. You still have a song coming out with her and Miley?
I do.
Is that coming like any day now?
Yeah.
Because I know this movie
Yes,
is
any
on the
day
way.
now. Yeah.
What's the movie again?
Charlie's Angels.
It's for the new Charlie's Angels. That's right.
Yeah.
That escaped me for a second. What
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you tell me about the song? Because everybody's clamoring to know. Are you a lockbox?
No, I mean, I probably should be. I don't know. The song's really cute. It's really cool. When I first heard it, obviously I wasn't on it. It was just Ariana's parts.
Okay.
And they wanted me to write something, so I wrote like I kind of cut her verse into a halftime bridge,
Mhm.
and just sang some stuff over her choruses as well, and then Miley jumped on. So it's just really very spicy.
Yeah.
Spicy little track.
Did you watch the movie before you wrote your parts on this?
We
or-
only got to see 3 scenes.
Okay.
So,
They
but
showed you something to get the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. And then we shot a video ourselves. So that's pretty crazy
did?
also. Yeah.
Cool. So when is it coming out? Just any day?
I want to say 2 weeks.
Okay. What's it called? Can you tell me that?
No.
You can't tell me that.
I'm like, will I get slayed? I have no idea.
Another thing, I was reading about earlier.
It might already be out, by the way. I'm so
I don't
bad.
think it's
I don't
out
know.
yet. Maybe by the time
Not
this
the
video's
song.
out.
I mean the
Oh,
title.
the title.
Yeah.
I didn't see it anywhere. I was looking stuff up. Another thing I saw today when I was looking stuff up that I remembered from a few years ago, and then I hadn't heard anything about it. James Franco was working on a book about you or something. You remember that?
Yes,
Were you-
I do.
Was this weird? Am I bringing up something weird?
Well,
I thought you guys were tight.
yeah. Well, okay. So I thought it was cool that someone I really liked was writing a book about
Yeah.
me? ? But then I had read an excerpt of it.
Oh, and it wasn't as...
Well, I want to say the title was like Real and Imagined Conversations with Lana.
That's right.
So having read it, we hadn't really spoken all that
These
much
were fake
yet.
conversations between
Essentially,
the two of you.
yeah. And so I wasn't thrilled with the
presentation.
Gotcha.
It was definitely a projection.
Okay.
So I had said to him, maybe you should just write fake conversations with Lana Del Rey.
Sorry if I brought up something weird, but I was just so curious because I hadn't
No,
heard anything
I'm
about
just
it in a while.
I'm thinking about how that conversation ended now on the phone because I was like, I read it. He had sent it to me, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't think we talked about that. And he was like, well, I think we did. And I was like, I'm pretty sure we did. I'm like, where's the recording?
I remember this, James Franco.
Yeah, but if it ever comes out, I mean, I will help people decipher what was really said.
Okay.
It was just kind of like an interesting twist. I had thought that if it was going to be, I think at the time we were talking about like a more collaborative poetry book or something.
Yeah.
Or like a book of short
And then he
tales.
took it in a different direction.
And then it was like a weird story about me being like a freak. So
we'll probably never see it then. Let's just maybe that one's on James's shelf somewhere.
we shall see.
Okay, all right. Well, Lana, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome. What, that I'm ending on that note? Is that what's weird? I'm sorry. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's stellar. That's
Norman effing Rockwell is out. It'll probably be out now, I guess, when you see this video. I'm not sure, but
Yes.
congrats on the album.
Thank you so
and thank you for
much.
being here.
Thank you.
Lana Del Rey at my FM.
Norman Rockwell is the name of the new album from Lana Del Rey, and look who's here. It's Lana Del Rey. I can't believe it.
In the flesh.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
There are two words that have stood out to me as people have listened to this record and described this record. I want to know if you agree. I want you to maybe tell me what it means, if you feel like you can tell me what it means.
Okay.
It's a mood record.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Are those the two words?
No, just mood. just
Yes.
mood.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, it's an album kind of without any one particular big song. And so kind of like easy to listen to track if you're driving or so in that way. Yeah, it's kind of like a turn on, leave in living room.
Sure, that's
album.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about Defiant? I've seen it described as a Defiant record.
A Defiant record.
Yeah.
I would say that, that'd be amazing. I love that word.
Sure.
I'd say in my mind, it's thoughtful because it's so wordy.
Yeah.
There's just so many words. And each song is so many of the songs are so long, like from 7 minutes to 10 minutes. And so, I mean, it definitely breathes.
Yeah. Do you write in the car? Did I see that that's where kind of most of the writing happens?
I think so.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Well, I'm in traffic all day.
My first instinct was, how does that happen? And then it was like, how does that happen safely?
Well, I've got my phone voice notes. If I'm driving for more than an hour, I've probably got some kind of tape recorder or my phone just like running on my shoulder.
Sure. Gotcha.
So
that's cool.
Don't you
That's
worry.
Good. I'm glad. Safety first with Lana Del Rey.
You're all safe.
Cool.
Most of the time.
One of the things I think that has stood out with you and the albums that you have made and the music that you have given us is that, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, is you've kind of existed inside of a bubble. It's very clear that you've had a vision. You've stuck to that vision.
Yeah.
And while the rest of the musical world kind of goes on around you and there are trends and there this sort of thing, you've kind of done what you've done. There's been growth clearly.
Yeah.
But you stuck to your vision, and it's very much, I feel like, the case with this upcoming album. And it led me to Jack Antonoff. How did he help you kind of stay true to that vision, but also kind of progress as a songwriter?
Yeah, I feel like my process, I mean, it's funny, obviously, looking back on stuff, you have a clearer picture, but it has been a bit of it hasn't been like a more insular process, like making all the records. But I am a little bit of that kind of person where I sort of need to like leave the middle of the culture or the center of whatever's going on to really keep my finger on the pulse of it. Not that that's important, but just how it is. And so I kind of need to be a little bit on the periphery to really gather my thoughts and also like be an observer. And Jack, for instance, is like a lot more in the mix. Like he's super social. He is like out all the time, pretty funny. And when I met him, I wasn't writing at the time, but he just wanted me to come down to his home studio and see what we would cook up that day. And we wrote a song called Love Song in an hour. And I was like, oh, this guy is like, he's really different. He's really talented. Quarterly.
Can you describe kind of like how? What does that mean that he's different?
Well, his musicianship it's different from most people's because, for instance, we only have like three or four additional instrumentalists in the entire record because he plays the sitar, he plays like a little cocktail drum set, he plays the real drum set, bass, guitar, piano, mellotron, Juno. So he's just really, his ability is just so wild. I feel like his musicianship it's equal to my ability to find a beautiful melody. So we moved pretty quick.
And the plan wasn't initially to make an entire record with him,
no,
right?
not
and
really.
It just kind of worked out that way, and that's a testament, I think, probably to your guys' artistic relationship and kind of how that worked out.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool thing. We've obviously been fans of Jack for a while through his work with Fun and Bleachers, in addition to the stuff that he's produced. And
Totally.
it's just cool. It's cool seeing a good guy who clearly loves music.
I agree.
Get to do that with such talented people.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the
He's
case.
got a lot of energy. He's always doing the most.
Sure. How important is the state of California to you?
Pretty important.
Yeah, it seems to kind of impact everything. More so, I feel like, than with other artists. Can you explain how?
Well, like as much as I need to sort of stay, I don't know, like on the edge of things socially, I also like need to go back and forth from LA quite a lot. So like being in San Diego and San Francisco is really important, and just for me to like get away to come home and feel creative.
Sure.
So a lot of my time is on the road, and then just kind of thinking about what I'm going to do when I get back and how I can sort of stay creative when I leave. So it's a little bit of a I don't know, it's very just the state and the weather and how like easy going everything is very helpful to my process.
Yeah.
But also when I was in New York, like I was very New York centric, and I think I'm just pretty influenced by wherever I am.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I think that's a pretty natural thing.
I soak it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Norman Rockwell a particularly California album? It certainly feels like it has like nautical and surf themes.
It definitely is a California album.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that there's even a song called California on it, which is a cool little track.
Yeah.
And even like this little song I wrote before I even started the album called Bartender is like about ladies of the canyon. And even though it could seem a little bit on the nose, like it's also really, fun and current to what's going on with me. So
From the outside looking in, it feels like with album number 6, and it's been like this for a little bit, but certainly with album number 6, that a lot of the bullshit surrounding Lana Del Rey has kind of fittered away, and now the focus is the music and the artist. When you first came out, I felt like there was a lot of that, and you've been able to power and plow your way through that.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you, I was going to say, do you have that sense? Does it feel like that
I
to you?
do.
Are you more comfortable now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Good.
It's definitely tougher in the beginning.
I would imagine so. Yeah, there was a lot of, I think, unfair and sometimes mean scrutiny.
Absolutely.
And I think that, like I said, I think that you staying true to the vision has, and over time has persevered. And again, that stuff has a tendency just to kind of float away. So
it does if you keep going.
Sure. Yeah.
But you do have to be persistent.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I think, thank God I had like a bit of an inner knowledge that like I love to write. So if that's the one thing then like, just keep writing.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a more challenging entry way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Are you a surfer? Is that you surfing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a surfer. That is me surfing.
Yes.
But I'm trying to be, and I'm gonna be.
If that's you surfing, I would qualify you as a surfer.
I kind of look like a triangle, like trying to like.
You did well.
Save it.
We're talking about her latest music video, which you can see below this conversation right here. Did I hear that you also rollerblade? Is that true?
Like.
That's what I heard.
How did you hear that?
I don't know. How does anybody hear anything? Is
Well,
that true?
I thought I could rollerblade. I brought rollerblades to the set, and I was like, watch me. I figure skated for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then all of the grips, like, watched me fall on my face, and I was like, okay, we will try something else.
Sure.
So.
I think you're being modest.
No, I'm not. I really.
Okay. Generally, when an artist has been in the studio for a while, they are itching to get out and play shows, and artists who have been playing shows for a while are itching to get back in the studio. Does that mean that you're in a place right now where you're excited to get out and play these songs live?
Yeah, but we've been playing all summer.
Sure, yeah.
We
yeah.
had like a solid 11 or 12 shows over the summer. So we've been like bringing in like a couple songs like Venice Bitch and Mariner's Apartment Complex, and we did the Sublime cover. So I'm kind of in my groove, but I'm really excited to like do venues like Jones Beach or the Bowl or the Greek, just because those big open air theaters are so easy to sing at with the acoustics. So I'm getting ready to get all my friends to come down and visit me.
Fun. Cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Sublime cover. Was there pressure when that idea came up? It seems, again, this is from the outside looking in, someone who has not had to do this. When the idea of doing a song from Sublime comes up, that would terrify me. Did it terrify you?
For sure.
You nailed it. You did a good job.
You nailed it.
yeah. Just so you know. I don't know if anybody's like looked you in the eye and told you that yet, but you did a great job.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely said no before I said yes.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
then I said maybe. And then I was like, okay, yes. But just because I love that record.
Was there a point where you knew that it was working as you were kind of going through
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
As soon as, like, I left the studio before it was done, but obviously all my vocal layers were down. And I was working with someone that I know, but that I had never worked with before, Andrew Watt.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what I was going to get in the morning. But when I left it, if you leave it at night and it's pretty good, you know it's going to be even better in the morning.
Good.
So I was really surprised how different it sounded from like my stuff. Like it made me realize how folky my sensibility starts until I meet someone else who's a little more like, let's do this, like super high energy.
Well, yeah, like I said, it turned out really well.
Thank you.
It is a hard thing to do. And again, it's one of those things on first listen, you're like, okay, that makes sense. And I feel like even the most skeptical of Sublime fan would agree. They would be like,
Yeah,
oh.
maybe not the most skeptical.
Well,
but
those people can go straight to hell. That's what I say. Awesome. Lana Del Rey, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you so much.
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Again,
Appreciate
Norman
it.
Rockwell is the name of the new album. She'll be at the Hollywood Bowl this October. And yeah, could not be more excited.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
It's Lana Del Rey on Alt 98.7.